Welcome to NFL Daily. We're like Billy Bean. Our stuff just doesn't work in the playoffs, apparently. I'm Gregg Rosenthal. I'm in the Chris Wesseling podcast studio.
Yep.
Not for the last time, but one of the last times this season to make our picks.
I mean, maybe ever.
The
I don't
amazing
know. I don't know if they're going to ask me back
Cynthia
next season.
Frelund. No? Same. You never know around here. Welcome, Cynthia. It's
Hi.
Conference Championship weekend.
Woohoo! We did it.
And that start of the show that I'm referring to, the general manager of the Oakland Athletics, longtime GM Billy Bean, often said, and look, I can give our producer Chris a little extra work. He just would say, maybe my just doesn't work in the playoffs, because he would just get the A's to the playoffs, and then it wouldn't come through. And my picks have been poor in the playoffs. I'll own it. My one stay away last week was a win. That was the Bills. But I went 0-2-1 because that Eagles game was a push. You got 1-2. So let's rebound here.
We
for
got
these
it.
last two games. We were great in the regular season, much like the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's start there. The line started the week at 4.5. Got pretty quickly moved up to last week's line. So it's Eagles -6, just like they were against the Rams. I believe that was your stay away. That's why you did not have a push. But you were with me on the Eagles side. It could have gone either way.
Well, I just didn't want to do the same one as you.
Jake Elliott in those missed extra points killed it. What do you think this week?
I think 4 was about right.
Ooh.
I think 4 was about right. I have the Eagles winning this one, but I don't think that they're going to do it by more than 6 points. I think that's too rich for my blood.
Okay.
Maybe 5, 4, 5. I think that 4.5 line, I think it was priced correctly when it first came out.
They usually do.
I know.
That's
I know.
why they've got those big towers and
Yeah, that's why,
rooms.
they have super fancy rooms.
Although this year they've struggled because it's been a favorite heavy type of year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just start at the end. I'm taking the Commanders too. So
Are you taking the Commanders?
I don't need to on this show.
Got it.
I'm not really sure.
Fair,
I've
okay.
gone back and forth. So we'll start
All
at
right.
the end and then
All
we'll
right.
explain why we're making these picks. But at first I was thinking Eagles cover. Then I'm thinking Commanders win outright. I'm just all over the place because if it's a close game, I sort of trust the Commanders' game management and their history in those games and their coaching staff a little more than Nick Sirianni.
Nick Sirianni's a hothead.
And when you just look at the pure talent and how they've gotten here and the depth charts and the numbers, I get why the Eagles could win this game by 2 scores. So nothing would surprise me. And yet on this show, I don't have to make a straight up pick. I am just feeling like I'm taking the Commanders +6. Now, why, from a football angle, do you think 4 was around the right number? What aspects do you think that are going to help the Commanders cover this spread?
Well, the first thing is how Jaden Daniels has adapted to the blitz. Newsflash, he's really good at it. That also works for some pressure metrics as well. The thing that, to me, does end up becoming the tipping point is as good as we've seen this Washington defense become, and they started off not good, and then they've gotten better and better and better as the season's gone on. I still don't think they have an answer to the dual-headed threat, or I guess triple-headed threat, if you want to think of it that way, that is this passing, running, and then passing on the run offense that is the Eagles. So it's nothing about the Jaden Daniels side of the ball. I think is very intriguing. I think Terry McLaurin has been a very underrated wide receiver for many. I know he's a Pro Bowler now, but I think we don't historically, this guy's done way better than perhaps his kind of accolades have suggested until this point with way worse quarterbacks. So interesting. And I just don't think I don't think Washington has enough stuff to stop A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, whatever the heck Saquon Barkley's going to do, and then whoever they get to do a trick play here or there.
Right. Jalen Hurts and his mobility is a huge question mark. How much does that affect their run game? I thought he moved.
He's okay.
I thought he moved much better. Everyone.
It was -$5 billion, and
and the announcers were so hard on it that he's just not moving at all. But when I flipped on the film after that injury, he moved. They called rollouts.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor too. Sometimes, I go back when I feel like sometimes the narrative on TV goes, I just listened to the Eagles radio broadcast. It was a lot more, I would say, fair. Not okay.
Well, the
It's
Eagles.
obviously slanted towards the Eagles because all of the home radio broadcasts are. But in terms of the mobility, it kind of pointed out the same things. Well, they're not calling something that really leverages all of Jalen Hurts' mobility.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a potentially protective as opposed to trying to see what we got.
Right.
You
They
know?
didn't know, but there was
My Michigan accent is coming out.
I love it. I love your Michigan shirt. What does it say? Okemos Athletic Club?
That's where I'm from. It's like it says Oaks.
Love it.
where
This
he
is
played
why you got to check
sport.
us out on YouTube. You got to check out
It's club with a K.
Cynthia's numbers game on YouTube. And what you do when you get there, you don't just watch the videos. You subscribe to the channel.
Turn on
and you
notifications.
subscribe to us.
And you get a piece of paper and you write down all of the things.
Yes.
It is a beefy podcast.
You mentioned Jonathan Allen hasn't played against the Eagles in either of those matchups. And sometimes the name on the back of the jersey doesn't match the reputation. He was coming back from the injuries. And then I watched last week, and that was like real deal Jonathan Allen. That's like adding, I'm not saying he's Jalen Carter, but it's adding a Pro Bowl level player to the mix.
Just tell me who in the back end. We're not getting healthy Marshawn Lattimore. We're not.
He looked a little better last week.
But it's still not. That is still not the same
trust
man.
my guy, Bram Weinstein.
I love Bram.
We had him on. So we had him on NFL
You
Daily.
did?
And I have to
need
admit,
to go back and listen to it. I love him.
Yeah,
I worked with him at ESPN.
My wife Emeka makes fun of me that I always I always trust whoever the last person is that I talk to about something. And there was something about Bram that has influenced my going back and forth. I mean, the confidence that he has, the confidence that team has, the vibes. And it's so stupid to talk about vibes, but when you're talking about 6 points, I feel a little better talking about vibes. He is the better quarterback in this game, obviously. I think the coaching staff, on balance, I trust the Commanders actually a little bit in a closer spot. So if I'm trusting the quarterback and the coaches and the vibes a little more, I'm going to take 6 points in this matchup.
Yeah.
I can just see the Eagles being a team that has their heart broken and not end up winning this game, or at least sweating it out. I see Jalen Hurts holding on to the ball when they blitz. And one thing that's been interesting in this matchup, the two times they played the Commanders, they actually haven't gotten pressure with Ford. A little surprising. One thing I didn't hit in the preview was that the kind of the regular running game from the Commanders got going last week. That's going to be a big deal. They were great early in the season, not so much late. I think they're kind of playing better at the right time. And they just remind me of some of these 6 seeds like over the course of history, like the Packers with Aaron Rodgers. Who was another one? There was one in 2005. Was that the Steelers team? I think was a 6 seed when they.
There's only been like 2.
There's only been a couple.
Yeah.
And they have so much belief. And I just think the Eagles are potentially there for the taking, even though I've been on their side all season. If you give me 6 points, I'm going to take it. I don't have to pick the game straight up.
Great.
You can watch Game Day View.
Great.
For that.
Then don't.
I think you are hearing how I'm leaning.
I do. I always
don't
enjoy
like it.
when you talk yourself into something. Those are my favorite moments, especially like I'm
it's
pulling
wrong.
the curtain back here. We will be on, filming in the middle of the show, and pre-show he'll be like, you know what, I'm taking the Eagles, and then I'll be like, screw it, I'm going with the Commanders.
Well,
the vibes are so strong. It's so good. It's my favorite moments. I love it. I love it. I love everything about it.
It's stupid, and it's stupid because I won't even be able to enjoy the game because I'm gonna be real. I always kind of pull for the Eagles a little bit. They're just one of those teams I enjoy, and I would be happy if they win, and yet I have a bad feeling about this game for them. Let's go to the other AFC Championship. 1.5 is the number as we talk. It's gone back and forth between 1.5 and 2.
1.5 feels better. I saw some places it was 1, some places it was 2. I was like, 1.5 is good.
I think that's
2
right.
stinks because you could
2 is annoying. 2 happens. It happened last week.
Obnoxious.
It happened last week, and the Bills won by that. Do you think the Bills can cover that 1.5?
I mean, sure they can. My problem in this one is, as we sit here right now, to me this is a 1-point game. And
really,
exactly.
So you're gonna try to thread the needle.
I'm not trying to do anything.
Your projection model
has
has a Chiefs win, but only by 1. Oh, that's cowardly.
Correct. Yeah, I actually wrote a cowardly model. Like that's what I tried to do. Like, what can I do to make this the most cowardly model ever? But look, the reality is if there is no Christian Benford, if there is no Taylor Rapp.
I think we're getting Benford. He's at practice.
I don't know.
We don't know for sure.
Right. So, but as we sit here right now, he's technically still in the concussion protocol.
Big deal.
And that is a massive deal.
Because losing 2 guys,
Losing 2 guys when you have this guy named Travis Kelce, who, if you look at the difference between when a defensive back covers him versus when a linebacker covers him in these Bills matchups, it's like, one is like 8 yards per catch, the other's like 12 yards per. Like, come on, man, you're really going to ask Terrell Bernard to handle that without everything behind him being good? And as much as I love Matt Milano, BC alum, he's great, but I don't know if he's like, he came back from injury and it just doesn't feel like he's like the full strength Matt Milano beginning of, like, he doesn't, and then this Chiefs team, they are getting healthier. I saw a report.
They're so healthy. It's annoying.
They're
so like the healthiest team in the NFL. You want to talk about luck?
Wild.
That's where they've gotten some luck.
Yeah,
good.
That's where they've gotten some luck. But I will say the Bills' O-line is better, and I will say that the quarterbacks are pretty evenly matched. So I'm this is not a 1-point win. It's a cowardly pick, but
I'm joking.
No, it is.
Don't feel bad. Wait, now if
I'm not a coward, my model is. If I made it.
Benford,
so I guess I am.
Either way, for the point of this show, and it's why picking the numbers is different than picking the winners. Ultimately, 1.5 is enough for you and your model.
Yep.
That in a game this even, just take the 1.5.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be that much more complicated. Now, if I told you Benford and Rapp are out,
then I think the Chiefs are.
Wow. So Benford is the difference because
the combination.
The combination.
Because who is going? Look at what Xavier Worthy has done in recent weeks.
Wow.
They changed his average depth of target. They cut it more than in half, and the man is all about that yak lifestyle, and that is where he could outrun. I'm not scared of him against DeMar Hamlin. I'm not scared of him against anyone in that secondary.
Roswell Douglas, not the fastest guy.
No. And if you can get something over Matt Milano's head, life is tough. So when I'm looking at that, and then I factor in how healthy this defense is for the Chiefs, like it's just hard. But if Christian Benford's there, that is a difference maker.
Okay,
for sure.
We'll track the injury report.
But like I said,
Benford, I believe, is limited, but is in the concussion protocol. Rapp has not been seen at practice, which is not a great sign.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. Although
Terrell Bernard cannot an entire offense stop.
We are taping this on Thursday afternoon, so
keep an eye.
Check the injury report and keep that in mind. But for now, you're there. I'm on the Bills. I'm going to go ahead and say,
to be fair, and I'll say this, I'd like to see the Bills. I mean, I can make an argument that it'd be fun to see a Chiefs three-peat. That's cool. But come on, man, I did preseason with the Bills. I've been a Bills stan. Like that. Now my Lions are out. Whatever. I'm gonna go with the Bills. Like I want to see something new. And it's not an anti-Chiefs sentiment. I like the Chiefs. I love Patrick Mahomes is the best we'll see in our lifetime, probably. Up close and personal. And
I felt for you. I mean, I felt for me because I was pretty strong saying that not only were the Lions going to win, that the Lions minus 9.5 was my favorite pick last week. I got a few mentions on that one, and
to be fair,
I deserved them. That was very much the wrong side.
As a Lions fan, I can tell you that this is better than last year. Last year, that was the worst. You're up at halftime in the NFC Championship game by like 17 points, and you come back and get gutted. No, that's worse. So
that's fair.
This one was at least like
they deserve to lose. There wasn't.
They deserve to lose.
There wasn't much mystery to it. Now you would.
Now Jahmyr Gibbs, that man was trying to win, but it was a lot of other things just weren't going right. It was like a comedy of errors, if you will.
That defense was going to require them to score
to be perfect.
40 plus.
You can't turn the ball over 2 times, let alone 5. Like.
Ugh.
But again,
I apologize, and maybe I'm overcorrecting here, but in terms of the Commanders, because I got it so wrong last week, we'll find out. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think this Bills-Chiefs game, good football game.
Oh, listen.
If you like football,
talk about cowardly takes.
that was the point. That was it. I am looking forward right now, as much as I'm excited about the NFC Championship game. I'm looking forward to that's going to be great in the first half of this Bills. If you could just transport me to the fourth quarter of Bills Chiefs, I just know that feeling is what you look for as a sports fan. Now, it's not one of my teams or anything, but I did have the Bills winning the Super Bowl this year, so I am invested. But that's what you love, and it's because of everything that built towards it. So I gave all the X's and O's, and we talked about the preview on Thursday's show, and Nick Wright was on the show, and Patrick and I, broke down why we think it's going to happen in certain ways. And I think the Bills are going to win this game. I do legitimately believe it. But one of the reasons why I'm so excited about that moment on Sunday afternoon is the buildup to this. I mean, the Chiefs are trying to be the greatest team in the history of football. And in their way is the team that, if they lose on Sunday, has a pretty strong argument as the greatest team to not make a Super Bowl in the 5-year window. Here's what the Bills have done leading into this game. It started in the year where they lost the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs. It continued, obviously, in that great shootout in the divisional round in overtime. They have won 12.2 games on average in the regular season over the last 5 years. That's amazing. They have averaged third place in point differential over the last 5 years. They have never been lower than fifth. That is the hardest thing to do in the NFL. You are top 5 in point differential for 5 straight years. You never drop below 11 wins for 5 straight years. You've been at 13 since 5 straight years. And I think all of that experience really does matter. Not that they're hungrier, but that sometimes it really is your time. And one of the reasons it's their time is I think they're built to beat this Chiefs team, because like the Chiefs, they're so intelligent. They don't beat themselves. They don't make mistakes. That they can out-Chiefs the Chiefs. And I think they can be diverse defensively, offensively. They can do any sort of game plan. And then when it comes down to it, quarterbacks, offense, which quarterback is ultimately better right now? Who is playing better right now? Which offense is better right now? It is the Bills. This is actually the best Bills offense that they've had in terms of points scored, in terms of efficiency. I know you don't have the star power of Stephon Diggs, but being able to run the ball and be diverse and change your game plan, it is the best offense. So this is the year that they are going to do it. They're not going to be the best team that hasn't made the Super Bowl, because they are going to make the Super Bowl, and they win it by 3 points. Great game. Bills Chiefs 31-28. Let's go with that. That's it. Sorry. I just had to rant.
I love being here for this rant. This was incredible. Like, I feel like I just, like, some people go to church on Sundays. I just went to church.
Oh, man.
And it was great.
But at points, I was like, I should let Cynthia in here. She's either enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it.
Or she's scared. I don't know by the intent.
I'm enjoying it. No, I'm completely enjoying it. I need more of these rants in my life, but I need them about, like, also teams. Like, I like both of these teams, obviously, but I would love a Lions rant whenever I can.
Or just
one.
Like your private life. All right, Cynthia, this is going to be a big day for your wedding planning.
Oh,
we're
Jesus,
actually going to
the world's worst wedding
taking
planner.
steps 1 and 2 here.
Steps 1 and 2 I did. 1 was find the right person.
Okay,
and
that's
2
good.
was like,
it's just been hanging out there. We're worried. We're worried about you and Kyle, but we are not worried about these games. They are going to be fantastic. To review, we're both on the Commanders +6, and actually we're both on the Bills +1.5. But you say keep an eye. If both guys in the secondary are out, you're going to flip it. So keep that in mind. We are going to keep track of that in terms of the records, although I have a feeling Bedford will be out there, and then it won't be.
I hope so
question.
for Bills fans and Bills fans everywhere. I hope that they get Christian.
Yes. Let's play that song, because look, Cynthia,
when you're ranting,
when I'm ranting, and the Bills are finally going back to the Super Bowl, don't be afraid of it, Eric Roberts. You know football is back.